What's up, YouTube? And this is another long version of my journey reselling action figures on eBay. And instead of doing shorts and reels, I really enjoy doing these kind of videos because I get to just be myself and kind of just relax and shoot the crap. And so, yeah, if you like this kind of video, go give me a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. And let's talk about it in the comments. Let's talk about these figures in the comments. This is really cool. So I'm gonna just talk about the story on this. So I listed this for $14.99, and the reason why I asked for $15, and that's kind of lowballing because these been selling for 20 to 25 bucks. Some people are paying $20 and like $10 shipping. So these are going from anywhere from 20 to 30. That's how I see it. I seen a couple sell for 15, but they're still paying like $8, $9 for shipping. So no matter what, they're paying 20 to 25 bucks for these. I have no idea what's the reason why the Iron Giant are selling like hotcakes. What can it be? What is it? And I had a feeling, even $14.99, me listing it, that someone was gonna hit me up about this, and I'm willing to negotiate because I picked this up for like $4.99, if that. That's just me pricing it high. $4.99. I wouldn't pay more than $5 for these kind of figures. And this is even back in the day. So back in the day, I probably pay like $3.99. That's how these were going at Ross back in the day, like three bucks. You never know. I might have picked it up a 49-cent day, but I doubt that. But yeah, I actually picked this figure up for really dirt cheap, and $3 to $5. I listed it. I was like, I'm not trying to make a killing. I kind of want these things to sell. So if I will list it for 20 and plus shipping, and it's like $5, $6 shipping, it's no way this thing would have sold. So I'm like, let me just put $14.99. I'm asking for $15. So I'm making like 13. You know, but no, it didn't happen like that. Someone offered me 10 stinkers, and I was like, nah, I'm not letting this go for $10. I'm still making profit, but no, this is worth way more than that. You know what I mean? So I just countered back with 12 bucks. And, I kind of, I was like, damn, I kind of want the 15 and all that. But nah, if someone really wants this, and I'll give it to them for 12. That's the whole reason why this is kind of a hobby at the same time. I'm not trying to make a real big killing, but I have taken a couple L's. So this would make up for those little L's I took. And so I took 12 bucks, and I'm going to be shipping this out tomorrow. I'm going to be shipping this out tomorrow, and I'm hoping that we sell some more stuff by tonight because I did list 20 more items. Really cool stuff I listed because I'm running out of crap. And so all the good stuff is starting to come out. And I'm listing them for reasonable prices. And if people want to negotiate, I kept it open. I wasn't, if they want to lowball me, go lowball me. And I'm just going to, ask for something in the middle. Let's meet in the middle. Let's do it. It's a whole little bargain, whole little game. I like it. I'm having fun with this little journey while I'm not in school. I'm going back to school in August. I did FAFSA. Um, I have 2 classes to complete my associate's degree. It's a health and human services degree, not just as a psychology, a counseling degree. And not a counseling degree, but that's what I'm majoring is in, like, the counseling field. So I don't want to pursue to go towards my BA. I can because I am on the honor roll, but that's a whole nother story, and that's a whole nother stress level. I'm having so much fun making videos and doing these kind of things where I don't even want to go back to school, but I have to get that back in a way. So when you see me like kind of have less videos of stuff going on in August, that's going to be coming up. But hey, that's just for a year, and then after that, I could get back to my stuff. But for now, I'm having fun reselling action figures on eBay. I'm not making much. eBay takes a little cut, but it feels pretty safe. It's pretty convenient. I haven't ran into any scammers. I see YouTube videos always like, oh, eBay scammers and all that. But I'm not selling nothing very expensive as well. So I think you run into the scammer stuff once you start selling stuff that's worth like 100, maybe even $50. I don't want to list anything worth $50, but at the same time, I would love to make $50 off of one bust. That'd be so cool. You know what I mean? But for now, 14.99, $15. That's big money for me here. So I sell this for $12. I'm juiced. All right, and so the other offer I received on eBay was for this. Boom. And this thing is, people haven't offered me anything. They're giving me $6 a pop for these, and I sold about maybe four or even five of them, maybe more. I sold four or five, maybe more, maybe more. I'm selling more Super Mario stuff is selling like hotcakes, and this was before Mario Galaxy came out. So people could be like, "Oh, it's because no, no, this is before Galaxy came out." So Super Mario on eBay is a thing to sell because people buy this video game stuff up like like crack, like crack cocaine. So if this dude gives me $5, I'm waiting for his offer. Come on, let's go. I'm ready to ship it to you, buddy. But if not, you know what I mean? $6, it's up there. And so I was really hoping to get rid of these really awesome Sonic the Hedgehog figures from Jake's Pacific. These are awesome. How cool are these? They're so massive though. It's a massive and I don't like taking things out the box, so I kind of don't want these in my collection. I'm not collecting Sonic right now. So I listed this for 13.99, and someone gave me 13.99 for it. No, no ifs, f's, or buts. They're giving me $14 for this item. They paid like $18 with tax and shipping. So they got this less for less than 20 bucks. Less than $20. They got a raw Jake Pacific, and I'm willing to will and deal to give people good steals. But at the same time, I went toy hunting the other day at Ross, and I seen Masters of the Universe, Skeletor 40th anniversary, and some other ones that like a B one and another. They're cool. They're cool. If you watch my videos, you'll see it on my short. In my shorts, there it's there. And to be honest, my heart broke because I went from paying $8.99 at Didi's, sometimes $6.99 to $8.99 for Masters of the Universe, Eternias, and stuff like that. I was paying like $8-9, and that's a steal. You know what I mean? $8.99, $6.99. That's a steal. And then it went up to $10.99. You know what I mean? I watched it go up to $10.99, and I wasn't buying nothing at the time. But then when they showed up with the Masters of the Universe slash Ninja Turtles, I bought up like six, almost seven of them. I might have eight of them actually, and I paid $12.99 each for them. Except when I picked them up at Didi's, I was getting them for a little cheaper. I got I, I think it's Shredder. Is it Shredder? Or it might be Skeletor. It might be a snake. It's a snake one. Whichever one the snake one is, I got that for a steal. But it's a massive figure and it comes in a massive box, and and I paid probably cheaper than maybe $10 for it. Eight, maybe not even that. Maybe yeah, because I was paying $12.99 or $11.99 or it was either $11.99 or $12.99 at Ross for the Master of the Universe, and they look like the old school wrestlers and just all old school '80s toys, and it was disappointing to see the Masters of the Universe go for $14.99 compared to the price of $19. So you're telling me, Ross, you're only going to give us $5 off of these figures, or not even $5 off? It's just like it don't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. So if anybody is having a hard time with paying this extra kind of money, like I love toy hunting, I love toy hunting for bargains. I'm not looking for stuff I can't buy as a bargain, not only as a collector, but also to, get these out there for people that like them. You know what I mean? I won't call myself a reseller because I think resellers will buy all the crap up and all the good stuff up and will go sell them. I'm not doing that. I'm just looking out for shit that's hella cheap and then picking that up and just putting a couple bucks on it and getting them out there. So uh, I'm just reselling. That's what I'm reselling, but I'm not a reseller because I'm not doing that weird stuff. Like, I'm not really with that kind of stuff. I don't like that. I'm not like, I remember when the PS5 came out, it was just such a headache and it was just really bad, and I kind of don't like stuff like that. But, everybody wants to get their money. They got to get their money. I can't knock it. I can't knock it, whatever. I'm just not a fan of it. But I am disappointed in Ross. And I'm ready to start just going drifting and going to flea markets and just seeing if I could just score on some cool shit, for cheap. Maybe someone's just trying to get rid of their stuff and dump it, and then they just want to dump it for cheap. But I don't have the space and stuff for that. That's why I like to buy stuff brand new, just so I could, you know what I mean, just have a couple on my wall, and then if someone wants to buy them, empty spot, and then I just replace that space with something cheap again, and get it back out there for a couple more bucks. You know what I'm saying? Because I did pick up a figure, and I'm just gonna grab it really fast. Pick this up. I picked this up for $5.99. It's a Marvel Legend. I could not pass this up for $6. I could not pass a Marvel Legend for $6, and it's a Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, the first movie. People love this movie, and check it out. How cool is those accessories? Really cool accessories come with this figure Spot, and so Spot is listed as well on eBay. I paid $6 and I listed them for $13.99. So I'm just trying to make $4 or $5. But I could do that with these kind of figures because I know someone will give me like 30, because these are going for like $25 probably. These are probably going 25 or $30 at Target. You know what I mean? So when I could score on Legends and stuff like that for $5 or $6, I could make some money. But when I'm getting charged $15, I can't even look at the uh, what's that called? It ain't even about making the money. It's about I can't even explain it. You know what I mean? But it's not about the money. It's kind of like the whole part of the hunt is the score stuff for a good price. And once you start squeezing us for every little penny and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Literally squeezing us for pennies, because if you pay for with cash, they're literally taking 4 cents away from you. If you pay, if it's off a penny, so if it's 39 cents and you give uh you get since it's no more pennies, basically you're getting back 35. So you're losing a whole nickel. It's like, what? So you're just taking nickel from me because it was 1 penny that you owed me? That those nickels add up. And guess what? Doing that enough times, dude, you can make a lot of money off of that. So they're scheming, they're scamming, and I don't like it. But I'm gonna continue to go on my adventures just to see what's out there. And I scored at GameStop for some cool stuff, but I'm not really. And that's what kind of like the only way I'm making money on eBay is every time I list 20 items, I'm selling at least 4 or 5 things. And sometimes the 4 or 5 things will turn into like seven after a period, but then my thing just goes completely. It goes from popping to, and then I'll let 7 days or 8 days go by, and then I'll list 20 things, and then bam, that I'll sell like 5, 7 things. You know what I'm saying? And I'm thinking every time I list 20 items, that's how it's getting put out there. So I'm going to keep listing items, but I'm running out of action figures to list because everything's already up there. I have like 102 things listed, now 100 things listed, you know? So let me know in the comments, what are your strategies on how you resell on eBay? Like, do you list 20 items at a time, 5, 10? Like, how do you stretch it out? Or, like, like I want to just do pure action figures, but at this point, I got a bunch of new cologne and like different kind of designer stuff and all that I'll never wear again in my life. So it's like I can make some money off of here, but I kind of wanted to just sell toys, on there. But I'm willing to deal if that's how I get people to look at my toys, is by listing other stuff. You know, something's going on with eBay and their algorithm. I know I'm not gonna pay them a percentage because I accidentally did that before. And guess what? My shit got 0 views still. Yeah. I was like, what the hell? That was an accident that I had them promote my stuff and they still didn't even promote my shit. You know what I mean? But yeah, I let this video run a long time. But be sure to give me a subscribe to this channel. And I'll catch y'all on the next one. Keep it spooky, peeps.